we don't think that you should hang around this one because this one might contaminate you. You just feel like, oh, he doesn't want me to have any friends, or he doesn't want me to be bothered with this one. But you have to be ever so careful, because when God puts a gift inside of you, that means that he is trusting you and knowing that you are going to bring and fulfill what he has given to you. Now, I can slow down for just a minute, and we can go in when you're dealing with your first trimester, and I need y'all to work with me, because like I said, I've never been pregnant, but I've seen, a couple of pregnant people. When your very first trimester, and it's very important that you get a system going. Look at your neighbor and say, get a system. When you are going through, they tell you that you need to have regular visits with your health care provider. These parental care visits are very important for you and your baby. Sometimes you have to go and make sure that nothing's harming the baby and that nothing's getting in the way of the baby to grow. So it is in the natural, so it is in the spirit. When you are going through and God has destined you with greatness, that's not the time to get big-headed. But you have to know that you have to go to your health care provider, which is Jesus. You have to pray and fast, read your word, make sure that you're talking to him, that you're communing with him all the time. Make sure that you're getting in his face and seeking him to see what direction that he wants you to go. Because when these things happen, you know that the baby is coming along healthy, that you don't have no worries, that there's no damage being done to the baby. Now I'm going to speed up to the second trimester. Just give me a minute and I'm going to give you something. Now approaching the second trimester, you know that you are going to start feeling the baby kick and move. And in the second trimester, you have to be ever so careful, because your emotions start changing, your mood swings start going through, and you have to, sometimes you want to tell folk off and different things like that. Maybe you sent them to the store for something, they didn't bring you back the wrong thing. You asked for just a cheeseburger, and they bring you pickles on your cheeseburger. I'm not sure really what it is when you're pregnant, but these are the type of things that you go through. So it is in the natural, so it is in the spirit. When you're in your second trimester and God is getting ready to birth something out of you, you can feel it moving. You can see that it is being active, even though it's not into full fruition. You don't know exactly what it is that you're going to do yet, but you know that it's moving. You know that different things are taking place. So you have to be ever so careful. There comes a time when your doctor tells you, listen, you're eating too much. You have to do this. You have to stay away from this. So it is in the natural, so it is in the spirit. You have to make sure that things that you are doing are not contaminating you. Because when it's time for you to give birth, you don't need no complications. Look at your neighbor and say, no complications. Now, some of us, we see, I got 7 more minutes, so I'm going to get out your way. Some of us, we see that in our today's society that we have some women that have abortions.
My God.
And these women that have abortions are probably, if it's safe to say, are probably put in a predicament where they feel like they're not able to take care of this child that has been impregnated in them. Or they feel like they don't have enough help. Or they feel like they might have to go through this alone. But can I tell you something? When you are serving God, and when you have destiny inside of you, you don't have to worry about being alone. Because God is always going to get to be there for you. And we can't be weak Christians. Because when some of us were in the world, somebody looked at you funny and you was ready to throw up their hands. So because you came over to God's side, you feel like, no, this is too strong for you to have to deal with. This is too much. So we did want to throw a pity party and want somebody to, comfort us and say everything's going to be okay. You put yourself in that position. Now this is where when you get intimate with God, he'll take care of you. Some of you got intimate with men that didn't want nothing to do with you. They came and didn't get what they wanted and they left. But when you get intimate with God, he'll Some women, as we know, have premature birth. Look at your neighbor and say premature birth. When you're dealing with premature birth, I don't have to preach, y'all, right? I can teach. When you're dealing with premature birth, we know that this happens because sometimes there's something that goes wrong in the inside and is causing your baby to develop, but it's not getting the right nutrition that it needs. So with this being said, we know that it's time for the baby to come out. Now with some of us in ministry, we know somebody came and prophesied to you and told you that you were going to be an evangelist now, or you were going to be a prophet, or you were going to be a minister, or you were going to be a pastor. What some of us tend to do is we move before our time. Can I get an amen? And we move before our time, and in causing this, we give birth prematurely. So what are you saying to me, preacher? You have to sit and wait because God has to manifest that